Hello everyone, my name is Gayatri Tripathi. I'm a student of Life Science and right now I'm working as Assistant Professor in Rashtriya Kisan PG College, Shamli, affiliated to Masa Kumbh University, Saharanpur. So, today we are going to discuss about the most important topic of evolutionary biology, that is natural selection. Natural selection is the most important part, and in this topic we will discuss about the introduction of natural selection with certain examples, and after that we will discuss about how natural selection occurs and why natural selection occurs. So let's begin with our PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so let's begin with the first slide, and you can see here in the first slide what is written. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And this particular quote was written by Charles Darwin. So according to him, being strong or being most intelligent is not the basis for survival. The basis for survival is how an individual is responding to the changing environment. If an individual is responding in a better way to the changing environment, then that particular individual would be selected by nature. Otherwise, it will be eliminated by the nature. Let's move to the next slide, and here is the introduction of natural selection by a definition. So, the unequal survival and reproduction of organism due to environmental forces resulting in the preservation of favorable adaptation. You can easily see that there are different individuals having different survival and reproduction rate in an environment, and this differences arises just because of their response to the changing environment. If they are betterly responding to the changing environment, then their reproduction and survival rate is good, and if they are not betterly responding, then that particular species or individual are eliminated by the nature. Now, natural selection is a two-step process. In first step, there is production of variation in a population. Now, what is variation? Variations are the varieties, changes, and these variations in a population arises by three means. First one is by mutation. What is mutation? If there is any changes in the gene sequences of an individual, that can lead to the variety or variation in a population. Another one means of variation is mitosis, and the last one is random mate choices and fertilization that could lead to variation in a population. Now, the second step in natural selection is non-random aspects of survival and reproduction, and this non-random aspect of survival and reproduction arises by non-random mate choices. Now, let's see certain examples of natural selection by pictures. So, the first picture here you can see is the example of lemurs, and you can easily see how their behavior and appearances are changing as per the changing environment. Another example you can see here is Amazon frogs. They are changing their color, their appearance and behavior as per the changing environment. So they are betterly adapting their changing environment, and that can only lead to them to better adapted by the nature. Now, is there any forces or agents involved in natural selection? So, next question is how natural selection occurs. Okay, so there is no agents or no forces involved in natural selection. Natural selection is simply a process of elimination. Now, what kind of elimination is occurring here? So, elimination of unfit individuals. So, what kind of individuals are fit? So, we will say those individuals fit who are reproductively fit and passing their genes from one generation to another generation. If they are not reproductively fit, then that particular individual is eliminated by the nature. Okay, so natural selection is survival of the fittest. If an individual is reproductively fit, then that particular individual would be selected by the nature. Otherwise, they will be eliminated by the nature. Now, why natural selection occurs? Another question. So, see here next slide. what acts as a selection pressure on a population? What are the causes behind the natural selection? So first cause behind the natural selection is competition for food. So during that time period, what kind of environment is there, what kind of food availability is there, and if an individual can survive on that particular food that is available in that changing environment, then only that particular individual will survive. Okay, next one is competition for a mate. Likewise, next one is change in the environment, and next is predator, and last one is parasites. So these are certain selection pressure on a population, that why natural selection occurs. Now next one, we are going to discuss about the types of natural selection, and here you can see there are 4 types of natural selection in the next slide. So first one here is the directional selection, and here the directional selection means that selection of one extreme of a population or one kind of trait of a population. Okay, so that kind of selection is known as directional selection, first kind of natural selection, if one extreme of a trait is selected by the nature. Next one is stabilizing selection. So in stabilizing selection, the average trait of a population is selected by the nature. So this kind of selection is known as stabilizing selection. You can easily see in the picture here. And another one is, you can see here, disruptive selection. So in disruptive selection, 2 extremes of a trait is selected by the nature. So 2 extremes of a population is selected by nature. So this kind of selection is known as disruptive selection. So in this lecture, we have discussed about the introduction of natural selection, how natural selection occurs, why natural selection occurs, and what are the types of natural selection. So thank you so much.